Alright, on this episode we're going to remove the EGR out of my lada niva. We're going to remove the valve and the line that goes to the intake manifold. I've seen a few people ask questions on these on the forums and everything like that, so we're just going to remove it in mine because the valve's broken, it doesn't work, and yeah, so I'm going to show you how to remove it, and then you guys can make your own decisions from there on. So don't just let me get it.
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm the one to get it, bruh. I swear to God I'll get it, bruh. Hey, I ain't never giving up. Said I never give up. I got this, man, I got it. I will not quit, I'm on it. Never rock it. Got the block lit, I'm toxic. Spitting logic.
Alright, so before we remove it, let's get into what an EGR valve is and does. With modern internal combustion engines, exhaust gas recirculation valves is a method to control nitrogen oxides. So, sorry, let me just fix that up. Yeah, it produces nitrogen oxide. It's a byproduct of the combustion system. So what it does is the valve opens up and then it releases exhaust gases into your intake manifold and then goes back through the engine for reburning, hopefully to burn some of that nitrogen oxide, and then it goes down through your catalytic converter out the back, and it basically reduces your carbon emissions. But some people have a lot of problems with them blocking up, stuff like that. I never really understood. Like, I can understand with all the greenies wanting to take down our emissions footprint and everything like that. But from an automotive guy's perspective, I don't understand why somebody would want to put fat, chunky soot back through your intake manifold, fouling plugs, blocking valves, O2 sensors, and all that sort of shit. So on my Lada, we're going to remove it because you can't see it. Mine doesn't work. I'm not going to pay a fortune to replace it, and I mean, it's a 1983 vehicle. They can help in the startup procedure with getting engines up to temperature. So, I mean, it's up to you. If you're in a cold climate area, you might want to do this. You might not want to do this, sorry. But I live in Australia and it's hot here, so I'm not even going to bother with it. So, today we're going to remove the line, we're going to weld the two bungs, and we're going to make a plate to go over where the valve was. Alright, so let's get over to the car and I'll show you what we're talking about. Alright, so here's the EGR valve, as you can see. I don't know if you can see under there, but there is a line that comes off that. Alright, so this valve opens and the exhaust gas comes from here through that line, comes back up here around to the back of the intake manifold there. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it goes to that silver line there, where it'll go back through the intake manifold and burnt up on the combustion process. So we're going to remove this, we're going to try and remove this line, and then we will try and weld this bung up and the bung on the back of the intake manifold and make a plate to cover this. Because I don't know about you guys, but I just don't feel comfortable having carbon going back through my intake manifold when it's all about airflow and efficiency. So, alright, I'll take this off and we will see where we are.
A few moments later.
Alright, so here's my EGR valve. As you can see, it's broken. It's not in the best shape. So I definitely had an exhaust leak coming from here. I don't even know what sort of state it's in. Obviously not a very good one. But judging by down here, so this is the bit that goes to the intake manifold. It is full of crap. Obviously this valve hasn't been working for a while. So you can see all the carbon deposits in there. So that comes up out the exhaust into the valve and then goes down there and into that pipe. So since this has two holes, I'm probably just going to scrape this gasket off. I'll try and buy some new gasket material. I'll punch a new one. I'll make this plate and then I'll bolt it back down on the retaining, on the studs. I'll try and find some new bolts and everything for it. But yeah, so that's what happens through an EGR valve, and this is why I generally cancel them out when I get a chance. Alright, so now we'll get back into making the plate, the block-off plate for this. We may as well, it's what we can do now till I get some gasket material, and we'll see how we go with blocking that off, because it looks atrocious. Imagine that going through your engine every time. It's not exactly something that I want going through there, because there's no filter on that. It just goes straight back into your manifold. So yeah, I'm going to cancel it out just so I feel not only better in myself, but knowing that my car's not going to have all that sort of crap going through it. Alright, so let's get into making this plate. Alright, so I've got my piece here, as you can see. All I did was basically sit this on top, trace around it, and then I center punched my holes. I'm using 10mm steel, just because I like my stuff to be solid. You probably don't have to go this thick, but I mean it's pretty close to what the flange of the original EGR was. So I've scored it, as you can, I don't know if you can see that, but I've scored the outline and I've punched where the holes will go. So now I'm just going to run a grinder up here and along here, and then I'll smooth this out with the bench grinder that I've got here, and then I'll put it in the drill press and I'll press some holes in it. I'll probably give it a lick of paint anyways, just because, you know, I may as well, it's out, and make it look nice and probably stop it from rusting. So yeah, alright, I'll get into cutting that with a grinder, and then we'll drill the holes and we'll test fit it and we'll see what happens.
Retro.
Alright, so we made the plate to go on, and I'm just measuring it up against the old one, and it's actually pretty close. So, and that's all you want. I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, I could go out and get it machined by a shop and actually, you know, cut seam and all that, but no, I'm going to show you how it's done legitimately. You know, you guys can do this at home. I am. So, got our plate, still got our punch marks in it. So now we'll measure the holes in the EGR valve, and we'll drill these out to suit. Alright, so I've got the plate made up, as you can see. Bigger hole, smaller hole. So it all goes accordingly, like that. So now what I'll do is I'll just deburr these holes. I like to just use a step drill and just give it a quick once over. Don't enlarge it too much, just make sure you take the burr off, and then I'll paint it up and we'll see if it fits on the lada. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it will. So I'm only going to get as far as placing it on there because my exhaust gasket hasn't turned up yet. But, you know, if you guys still have a good gasket or ordered one beforehand, you could just go straight ahead and bolt that on. All the vacuum lines that run to it, just block them off from the intake manifold, from the carby there, and yeah, you can remove the rest. There's no warning lights or anything. It's not going to do anything. And yeah, you won't get any carbon build up inside your intake manifold, which is always a good thing. It helps with keeping the valves clean and everything. So alright, I'll deburr this and we'll go see if it fits. Alright, so I've deburred the plate, as you can see, both sides, and now we will see if it fits. There you go, got it on. So that fits pretty good. I'll paint it up, find some new hardware, and then I will install that when the new gasket turns up. Just a bit tight. But yeah, it's a good fit. It'll block that off nicely. Alright, so that's basically how to make a plate to block off your EGR on your Lada Niva. I don't know if other Ladas have the same engines or stuff like that, but I mean you can utilise that for just about any EGR valve. As long as they're vacuum operated, most of the new electronic ones will bring up fault codes, but yeah, if you've got a vacuum operated EGR, that's how you get rid of it. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure to like, subscribe and share, and we'll do some more. Have at it.